In this video, we will get to know about more digital camera terms, which will help you to understand and use your camera in a much better way. Let's go over to Mr. Desikan Krishnan, who's going to explain all of these to us.
Now, let's have a look at some common digital camera terms. Pixel. What is a pixel? The expansion of pixel is a picture element. It is square or rectangle in shape. A 10 megapixel camera will have 10 million such small rectangles or squares, and a 10 megapixel camera will produce an image size of 30 MB. It may not be exactly 30 MB, it could be 27, 28 or 29 because there will be some fall offs at the corner. The 30 MB consists of 3 channels, red, green and blue, where you have 10 MB in each channel. Now, if you convert this color image to a black and white image, you will have only 10 MB. We now move on to the sensor types. You have the CCD sensors and the CMOS sensors. CCDs are in entry level and basic cameras. CMOS is a more sophisticated sensor which you find in later higher end cameras. We now move on to file or image formats. You have the JPEG, the TIFF and the RAW. JPEG is a compressed format where, example what I can give you is, if you have a box in which probably you can put in, let us say 5 shirts. If you put in 6 shirts or 7 shirts or 8 shirts and stuff it in, when you take the shirts out, the size of the shirt will not reduce, but the quality of the shirt will reduce. It will be crumpled. You got to iron it out. That is more or less what example I could give you of a JPEG format, but all photographers in the media, press photographers use only the JPEG format because we can store more number of images in the same card and it is easy to download and easy to transmit. So, 99% or even 100% of the day to day media work is always done in the JPEG format. Then you have the TIFF format, where what happens is there is a processing which happens inside the camera. A raw image gets saved as a TIFF image. Then you have the raw image, which is a completely uncompressed image. As you shoot, it is there. Raw images are very good for processing. The processing will have to be done in your software outside the camera, in your computers, where you can get even the minutest of detail out. For high quality pictures, for advertisement and other things where you need details, absolute details, they always shoot in RAW and work on the images to get all the details out. Another example what I can do, when the RAW can save an images, even if you accidentally underexpose by say 3 to 5 stops, you can get some image out, some clarity out of a RAW image. But if you underexpose 2 stops, 3 stops or 5 stops in a JPEG image, all the information will be lost, whereas RAW will still contain some information which you can bring it out. For critical pictures, even press photographers, what they do, which is now possible in all the cameras, you can shoot in JPEG and you can also shoot in RAW. You can shoot in both the formats, where JPEG you use for immediate transmission, and RAW you come back to your office whenever you have time, you do the processing and save it, so that you get an image with absolute details in your library. So JPEG is useful for day-to-day usage, for immediate transmission, whereas RAW you got to come and do processing for very critical, for example, different shades of red, say between red and pink. RAW you can bring out the detail, whereas in JPEG you might lose a little bit of color. You may not find so much of a variation between, let's say, pink and red, whereas RAW definitely you will find the difference. It's always better to shoot in RAW. Again, depends upon the subject, depends upon the time you have in hand. If you can always shoot in RAW, yes, go ahead and shoot in RAW and then process it yourself. But you got to know how to process your image. Then we move on to storage devices, which is what I call the hard disk. You have the SD card and the CF card. I have not found any difference in terms of quality or color when shooting either in the SD card or the CF card. In terms of quality or color, it's the same. I have not found any difference. It's the same. What you have to look for is the capacity of the card and the speed of the card. The speed of the card and the capacity of the card. The speed of the card, you need a faster card whenever you are shooting continuous action, so that there is no buffering, so that the cameras will not hang, so there is no buffering. Whenever you are shooting continuous action, for example sports, so whenever you want to take somebody's bowling action, when you are shooting at 6 frames per second or 8 frames per second or 12 frames per second, you need a fast enough card to record those images. Otherwise, the camera will lag, there would be a buffering, there will be a gap between one shot and the other. What you have to look for again is the capacity of the card. You have from 512 MB to about 1 TB right now. It may go up to 5 TB or 10 TB or whatever in the future, but right now you have up to 1 TB. Now let us look at the capacity of the card, which would suit your camera ideally. Now if you are shooting with, let us say, a 12 megapixel camera and you are shooting only JPEG images, even a 4 GB or a 8 GB capacity card is more than enough for your needs. In that itself you would be able to shoot around 700, 800 images. But if you have a higher capacity camera, let us say you have a 36 megapixel camera, then you might need a card which is around, let us say, 16 GB or 24 GB or 128 GB. If you are shooting in RAW, you need 128 GB. But I personally would prefer smaller capacity cards like 64 GB cards, because for a couple of reasons. One is the higher capacity cards are more expensive, right, and they are also prone to damage. All cards are prone to damage. So if you lose a higher capacity card, you lose more money. Moreover, when you are on a long assignment, if you store your images in 2 or 3 cards, it's always better, because in case of accidental loss, you still come back with some images with you. It's always very important or very critical to take a backup of all your images, or at least your important images, because you would never know when you lose them or how you lose them. It could be an electrical short circuit, it could be a virus attack or anything else. So, never forget to take a backup of your images, because we do not know how long a digital image will last. I'll give you a simple example. When I was doing a long project in Kanjipuram, where I was documenting around 400 temples, I used to take 2 or 3 cards with me, shoot throughout the day. When I come back, I used to download them onto my PC, copy them on another portable hard drive. So, I have one copy on my PC, another copy in my portable hard drive. Then I used to erase the cards till I have 2 copies, till I have a backup. So, when I come back to Chennai, I used to copy all these things onto another card. So, whatever I have shot, I have got in 2 different hard drives. It always helps, because we do not know the life. Again, as I told you, it is bound to virus attacks, it is bound to damage. So, all your important images at least, always have a backup. Always have a, never forget to take a backup of your important images. You will never know when you are going to lose them.
In this lesson, you have taken a guided tour of the digital camera, its advantages, its main parts, and the basic terms associated with it. You are now aware of various sensor types, various image or file formats, SD or CF cards, and the importance of taking a backup of your work. We do hope that this will help you to better understand your equipment. Now all you have to do is to practice.